Right now, it's almost that time of the year again for parents to register their children for grade 1 and 8. The Gauteng online admission will open on the 22nd of July and close on the 19th of August. To speak to us more on this matter and other issues related to Gauteng education, a spokesperson, Dr. Steve Mabona, he's here with us in studio. Thank you very much, Dr. Mabona, for your time here on All Angles. Firstly, 22 July, and you were telling me off air that there are already parents who are trying to get into the system.
Yes, indeed. Hence, we felt that we really need to continue with the advocacy, educate parents, make sure that they don't try to apply, because we've been fielding many calls. You know, our call center, myself and other officials, they receive calls from parents to say, we are trying to access the system and nothing is happening. So it's important for parents to note that we're starting on the 22nd of July and up until the 19th of August. So we don't need to, all of us, on the same day apply, so that we then don't pressurize the system on the first day.
Just remind those parents who have children who are going into grade 1 and 8 next year, what documents do they need to, submit? Well,
you need an identity. You also need a birth certificate of a child. You need a latest report card for those that are going to grade 8. You then, if you are going to grade 1, you need the immunization card. Is that the one that we refer to as a clinic card. Importantly, you need proof of residence, which when you look at the regulations, it's quite an important document, because it's going to assist us to place you to a school that is closer to you. So our regulations dictate that we need to start there. It doesn't help for us to have people that stay very far from a school, access the school. Meanwhile, people that reside in the area don't have space.
Doesn't that also go back to choice? I mean, if, for instance, I live in Soweto, my child lives in Soweto, and I want them to, go to Sandringham High, am I not going to be allowed to take my child there for grade 8 just because I live in Soweto?
You're going to be allowed. Actually, we've enhanced the system to an extent that in the high-pressure areas, school will be full at a certain time, and we will then probably remove schools from the system. We're not going to do that now, because parents are complaining to say, give me an opportunity to apply, and then you follow your regulations. So schools are not going to disappear from the system. Parents will be in a position to apply, but regulations will kick in. You know that we'll start with the home address. Secondly, we go to those that have siblings in the school, and those that would have applied using the work address, they will be closer to the school. And then we'll move to 30 kilometers, that is within 30 kilometers. Then we will move outside, that is beyond 30-kilometer radius. And we'll also look at whether a school is a boys or a girls school, look at the school of specialization. Those that we really want to put an emphasis, that we have realized that parents don't take their children for aptitude tests or those assignments and auditions, because those schools, they specialize. So it's important that parents need to take the children for those auditions. We've given them dates, and when they apply there, it's not everyone that will be admitted. They need to go through certain assessments so that they are then admitted.
And then how do we avoid what usually happens in the beginning of the year, where you have parents calling us at eNCA and other media saying, till today, it's the first day of school, I'm still with my child, they don't have a school, they have not been placed?
Well, we need to re-emphasize that capacity is our challenge in Gauteng. Not everyone will be placed at a school that they might wanted to choose. That's why we give alternative schools. But on the other hand, we've realized that we, to a certain extent, overcrowd our schools because of the challenge that we have. And then we are sitting with a problem where parents will be saying, why do you overcrowd our school? Those that are inside. Those that are outside, they say, no, admit my child only. Then we need to balance the two. Later in the year, like now, we are experiencing a shortage of furniture in some schools that we overcrowded. We have started with the process of delivering furniture, but now sporadically learners are disrupting schooling because of lack of furniture, which we've already started delivering. For instance, in Tembisa, we've started to deliver furniture in one school in Tembisa. All other neighboring schools, learners there, then disrupted to say, but we are also waiting for furniture. So we just want to call upon learners to work with us. They are our main stakeholders. Let's not disrupt schooling. Make sure that we have, all the learners that are supposed to be in schooling, because curriculum time lost, it's not easy for us to recover that.
Talking about furniture that needs to be delivered at schools, etc. You were with my colleague Heidi Jokos yesterday at, I believe it's Tembelihle. What school is it in Soweto? Tubelihle, where pupils are still learning in mobile classrooms. You mentioned that this is a contractor that has been there for 5 years, 12 million rand, still no delivery. Just elaborate that to us. How can it be?
Look, from where we are sitting as the department, we realized that there was infrastructure need for enhancement and refurbishment at that school. Hence, we budgeted for and allocated funds for that project to go ahead, because internally we would not be in a position to administer that. Hence, the implementing agent, Department of Infrastructure, has a responsibility to deliver, such. So we gave it to them. They had their challenges with the service provider or the contractor that has been on site. Safe to say that they've decided to terminate the contract because of that reason. But from where we're sitting, we had to go yesterday to the school to say we understand the infrastructure challenges that are here, but we also need to be mindful of the fact that curriculum time lost, it's difficult to recover. Though SGB and parents and the school were saying, and including Heidi were saying, but you can't say you need to prioritize curriculum, meanwhile infrastructure, there's a need for us to refurbish. But we're saying if there's a mechanism that we have introduced to say in the interim, let's provide those mobile units, which we've been doing in most of our schools where we are overcrowded. And it became handy for us to give those mobile units. So we made a commitment that by 30 June we should have those mobile units while we are waiting for the project to complete.
How did the service provider go without being fired for half a decade?
No, that would not be, from us as a department. Because
you didn't try to come in?
No. Look, we've been interacting with the Department of Infrastructure to a certain extent that their MEC was there at the school, visited the school twice, visited that project twice. So they were aware of what is happening there, because we will then brief them to say this is what is happening. So I think they should be in a position to probably provide more in terms of how was that managed.
All right, I'll obviously pose those questions to the Department of Infrastructure, but as their client, the Department of Education, wouldn't you want them to try and get back that money from the service provider, maybe even blacklist the service provider? 5 years and still no results.
No, internally, those are the processes that we normally do as government. There are those companies that would have been blacklisted for poor workmanship or for not completing the project. There's a list that I was actually perusing, looking at those companies. So surely infrastructure will then lead that process, because the contractor was aligned to them. We need to give them an opportunity to do that. But from where we are sitting, we think that the mobile units will assist us to continue with the curriculum while we are waiting for the project to complete. It's quite unfortunate and regrettable that the project was not complete as per schedule. And we really explained to the SGB, and we were pleading with them yesterday, and really apologized for what has been happening. Also put an emphasis that let's try to work together and make sure that at least learners don't lose a lot of curriculum time, and that is a good school, they are doing very well.
100%.
Yeah, they are doing very well, and they need to be supported.
All right, Mabona, I have to end our interview with very sad questions. A school in Soweto yesterday, Taba Jabula, a stabbing. What happened there?
Well, quite sad story. We understand that a grade 9 learner allegedly stabbed the grade 10 learner because he was actually revenging or trying to, make sure that the grade 10 stop bullying the younger brother of that grade 9. Unfortunately, he was allegedly then stabbed 4 times, rushed to a medical facility quickly. Unfortunately, he succumbed to the injuries. Our message is quite clear that we try by all means make sure that the SGB has a responsibility to make sure that they instill discipline in our schooling environment and encourage learners to report if there's an element of bullying. There's probably learner that is bullying others or fighting. And in many schools, those learners are taken through the disciplinary process, take them through diversion programs. You know what happened at Leondale. We're still going to publicize the final report on how the disciplinary process was finalized there. So we really encourage learners to not to take law, into their own hands and, be violent because it does not really help.
Now, the grade 9 pupil, where is he? Do you know if he's been arrested?
Yes, we are informed he was arrested yesterday. But you know that minors, they will normally be released in the custody of their parents. So police will continue with that process. They will then update us. But what we did today was to send our team, for necessary counseling in the school. But unfortunately, that could not continue because some parents decided to go to the school and say, no, our learners must then be released, demanding, that children must be released. And because children then started to fight amongst themselves, we had no choice but to really dismiss the school. But we agreed with parents that on Monday, let them give us, the children. We need to continue the process of counseling and make sure that school continues, unhindered.
Just lastly, Mr. Mabona, is the MEC and the department concerned? These cases seem to be growing in the public eye. I don't know if it's because maybe there's more reporting of it, but pupil on pupil, pupil on teacher, and then there was also violence outside a school, I believe in Tembisa, where the principal was shot dead. Till today, we don't know who did that. Is there any concern from you about security at our schools?
No, it's quite concerning. It's quite concerning. But also, we will normally take it to parents to say we need to work together in terms of making sure that our children are disciplined. I mean, this morning at the Fakel, we understand that learner was reprimanded for not wearing proper uniform, but then ended up slapping the principal, allegedly. So it's things that really we don't need to see. And the school was disrupted because of that incident, which is quite unfortunate. And we really need to work together as parents. Let's remind our children that when they are at school, at least if you are reprimanded, you need to toe the line. We are at school, we are a child. And we need to respect our educators, because if we don't respect educators, then we are doomed. They need to be in front of us, they need to teach us, and we need to give them that respect. We can't give them headache. And as parents, we can't send our rebellious children to school and say, no, they will see to finish there. Work with the school, come visit the school and work with the SGB. Let's see. If the child needs a diversion program, let's agree and then take that child there so that we have disciplined children in our schools. Because really, it's out of hand and it's on a continuous basis happening, and it's so sporadic now, and we really need to work together with parents.
And law enforcement, I mean, I can imagine if you're saying that it's out of hand and that you need some assistance, I wonder what those parents at home are thinking in terms of taking their children to school. But thank you very much for speaking to us here on All Angles. Steve Mabona, he is the spokesperson of the Gauteng Education Department, telling us about various issues that affect that department this week. Of course, as you heard there, a pupil being stabbed to death by another pupil, and that, of course, is a problem, as you heard him say, that is it's growing, it's increasing in our province.